All right, we're back. And today it's going to be a fun grade along. Um, but let's talk about what happened this past week. Not much happened in terms of pickups. I did visit Half Price Books, and I actually went to a comic book shop. This is rare for me. I actually went to a comic book shop, my local LCS. Um, Great shop. Uh, the the shop's called Bellkirk Coin and Stamp, and I popped in. I dug through their uh, 50-cent bins and dollar bins, and I didn't pick anything up. That's It's really rare for me to like go in a shop and come out empty-handed, but that says a lot, because I didn't. There wasn't anything there compelling me that I had to get. Um, so that was good. But we did pick up one book at Half Price Books, and I don't want to reveal it quite yet. I want to wait till I get, because I am going to Disney City Comics to pick up some books, and I'm going to be rifling through their dollar bins there as well. So I'm kind of holding off uh, doing a haul video until that day. So until we come back from Destiny City, so I'll have more to show you. Just think it's better that way. If we, just doing a one book haul is not fun for anyone. So we're gonna come back with a little haul from Destiny City, and we'll reveal all the books at that point. All right. So today, our grade along, we're gonna be grading a bunch of my world's finest comic books. And so everybody knows not everybody, but if you've been following me and watching me, I'm into Jim Lee. I love Superman. I collect, quite a broad range of stuff, which I'm now trying to just really keep focused to just um, the stuff I like. And I am trying to pick up I've made the decision that I'm going to pick up Superman keys. So here's kind of the stuff in terms of the core PC, the stuff I've focused on. We're going to pick up like Jim Lee stuff, anything Neil Adams, anything Jim Lee, anything John Byrne for the most part, Michael Turner, Mark Silvestri, and we're going to do it organically, like Young, like Fate type stuff. And then, you know, um, right now, space wise, I'm not able to pick up much. So at that point, so I've got sort of a overflow box, which we have to somehow sell or get rid of or trade or whatever. I'm hoping Ethan at Destiny City will buy these books. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, we'll give him a really good deal, but we just want to kind of get it out of our system. And then as we add more core stuff, there's a lot of, I mean, my file cabinet is pretty much core stuff. So what I have to do is if I pick up something I really want, you got to take out and do that. So it's a very kind of stressful and challenging thing to do. It's like you're still going after books that you want, but you're having to, kind of whittle down what you've already have with that same mindset. Oh, this is something I wanted, and really hyper focus it. I know just talking about it doesn't make sense, but I'm sure for those of you who have the space issues and whatnot, it is making sense. So I think right now talking through what something like World's Finest, these are books that I would love to collect more of. I mean, these Neil Adams covers are staying in the collection no matter what. In fact, a lot of these World's Finest are probably going to stay in the collection. The only way we'd swap out a World's Finest for something else is maybe like something that's more key in World's Finest, or something that's more key in Superman. Like, we have to get to that point where, like, this is just a better book than this, like, that's just where it falls down to. So I do want to pick up more World's Finest. I want to pick up any Superman title from DC, and we want to target like Silver, Bronze Age, even Golden Age. I want to focus on the older books, I think. Because 90s, 80s, 90s DC, as good as it is, it's not anything I really want to. I mean, I've been targeting a lot of that stuff already, kind of own it already. So I think moving forward, picking more of this stuff up would be good. And I can also see me, like, not this particular book. This book we're going to keep, but like, for example, this Swan cover. As much as I love this cover here, this book, as much as I love this book, if we got another like key book from this era, I could see me swapping this out. This is actually a decent grade. We'll get to the grades here. This is a decent grade. But I hope you see my dilemma. It's like we're at a point where I probably can add, like, if I keep it very tightly stuffed, probably add an additional 20 books into the filing cabinet. But at some point we're going to have to, like, I have to make a decision. Right now I said I wanted to collect She-Hulk run. I wanted to collect like the McFarlane Spider-Man run, John Byrne Fantastic Four run, and the X-Men, like, a good chunk of the X-Men run, like the Silvestri Lee, so the post-Byrne run. And that's getting really hard to do all of those. And I know if I do choose at some point to, like, say, okay, you know what, we're going to not collect so many X-Men. Like, I know I'll be able to sell, or, I'll be able to move those, because there's enough people that like X-Men to be able to kind of distribute that out, should I want to trade or get rid of it somehow. But that's kind of where we're headed. Like, I think I'm at the end of the day, but I love X-Men so much. But I'd rather have Superman books at the end of the day than X-Men books. And right now, like, I've kind of sacrificed my Batman. And I think we'll do more of that. I think a good a good sort of a good trade-off to seeing some of my Batman dwindle is to pick up more of the world's finest where we have Batman. That's the only, I'm just kind of forward. I'm thinking forward to, again, we want to pick up Superman keys, like Superman artists, and focus there with Jim Lee stuff, Mark Silvestri stuff, John Byrne stuff. I think the first things that have to kind of go are maybe some of the Spider-Man stuff, McFarlane Spider-Man stuff. I think we have to probably put a cork in the She-Hulk stuff, even though I don't want to. We're going to continue to collect Wonder Woman, 1 through 100. We're going to continue to collect Wolverine for now. I think I can possibly see Wolverine stuff getting axed too. Because we just kind of spread ourselves too wide. And so, again, when we swap stuff out and create a new overflow box, I think Wolverine, even though I love, like, that's my collecting. It's like it's a sign of like I'm kind of graduating from the stuff I liked as a kid to more like, okay, we're gonna target like bigger, older books, but do it on a budget kind of thing. So I can see if if I pick up a bunch of like Silver Age books, I think some of the Wolverine might have to go. But I'm really forward thinking on this. I mean, for now, I'm just kind of trying to curb. I still want to finish that Fantastic Four Byrne run. But I'm looking at that less and less now. I'm also looking at like Spider-Man less and less now. I don't want to touch my X-Men yet. So I'm still kind of targeting X-Men stuff. Another big revelation I came to. I'm going to just stop getting Peach Momoko stuff. And I may at some point just sell the Peach Momoko stuff at some point. Don't get me wrong, Peach Momoko is still one of my favorite artists of all time, but I'm beginning to realize, like, she's taking up a big chunk of my collection now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stop. I'm happy with where the Peach Momoko collection is. So we're going to stop having that expand and grow. I feel like the only thing other Peach Momoko book that we'd want is like maybe if she did like a Superman cover or one of my like favorite Japanese anime type covers. But until we get there, she's going to continue to just do Marvel Star Wars stuff. I'm fine with like kind of like not going out and trying to get her stuff. So that's a big decision on my part to say, okay, we're gonna stop collecting Peach Momoko. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. Like I'm everything we add to the collection now, there has to be sort of a reciprocal action where something comes in, something has to go out. We can't just keep adding because there's no space. So my overflow box right now has a bunch of keys, kind of stuff that I bought out of impulse and things I liked. I still like my overflow box, but a lot of it is just like I can do without. Like 90s Daredevil I can do without. A lot of the Batman stuff I can do without. And so when we cycle that stuff out, we'll get we'll have space for overflow books. And that's when we'll cycle in new for old. It's not an easy thing to do, but we'll manage. All right, let's get to some grading here. The first book up is, just going to point this down now. There we go. All right, so the first book up is, let's see here, is World's Finest, 183. And just off first look, it's a book with issues. It's a reader's copy for sure. Got a lot of handling wear along the spine. The corners are very blunt. You've got just tiny creases all over the place, like 1, 2, 3. A lot of spine ticks as well, but no major creases. So I would say at the moment, this would fall in the 5.0 range. Yeah, I'd put it at the 5.0 range. So we're going to kind of open it up, look inside, and yeah, it's looking, we don't have any major creases, just a lot of stuff here on the issue. That's probably some of the major. There's like a crease right there. Can't really see it very well, but let's take a look at the back. Yeah, there's some staining there. Not sure what caused it. Looks to be some kind of moisture there. The cover is really tan. The cover's still attached well. So, like, structurally, it's still a good book. Here we go with some of the interior look here. Nice early Bronze Age book we're looking at. Yeah, let's look at who's the artist here. So the cover artist is Neil Adams. This is Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito. The Leo Dorfman story. So just classic stuff here. I was just talking about how Ross Andrew, just is like probably one of the premier artists to work on Superman and DC. Just epitome of, classic comic book artwork. Yeah. Look at these. There's another glorious Neil Adams cover there. Superman, Two Faces of Superman. Is that an ad for that? It's pretty cool. So, yeah, good stuff. Oh, here's a nice Supergirl ad as well. It's kind of cool. So they're just kind of previewing books, which is kind of cool. All right, so Yeah, I'd put this in. I would. I would put this in the 4-5 range, maybe. With the press, I could see it grading higher. But yeah, I think 4 or 5 is fair. So we'll go with 4 or 5 on this one. Again, no major issues, just an accumulation of a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of small issues. Yeah. It's kind of cool cover there. Superman's Crime of the Ages. Got this cool looking alien. Batman and Superman being frenemies there. All right, so yeah, I think we landed on a 4 or 5 for this grade. And just don't mind me, I'm gonna lock in the grade here as we go along. All right. Our next book is it's a great cover, and I'm gonna go 5-0 on initial kind of survey as well. Very much like the last book, no major creases. Got just a series of like spine ticks. This could actually really, really benefit from a press because some of these spine ticks aren't necessarily, like that one's color breaking, but like these here, they don't break color. So with a good press, this could look really, really nice. So we've got the red Kryptonian sun here. They're on Krypton, Batman and Robin. And yeah, like Superman's pretty helpless. They think these two are like criminals. They're going to execute. It looks like Jor-El's going to execute his son. Or if that is Jor-El, we're making an assumption it's Jor-El, might not be. All right, so there is an issue here. We've got a micro tear right here. I'm just going to flip it up to show you. You can probably see it. There. It's right there, the micro tear. Let me flip it up there. I can probably see it right there. There's a micro tear right there. Right there. And again, even with that, I think I can keep it in the 5-0 range. One thing though, it looks like this part here, this is issue 191, but the 191 got like it got cut off here along with the comic code. So, in terms of this wrap, gotta just check and see. Yeah, it just looks like someone might have actually cut cut that short. It's just a little, like when you compare it to this comic, you can see there's just about like I don't know, that I guess it can, the length is just suspect here. We got a little bit of a difference here. I mean, this edge looks so well cut though. I can't, this could just be a miscut or a miswrap or something, but The book is, I don't think anybody cut it along this edge. It just got, the cover in the book got cut in a way where it's it's a little short. All right, so let's take a look here. We've got artwork by, it's not telling us. Well, I do know the artist here. I've got it up. 191 is a Kurt Swan cover. Ross Andrew, Mike Esposito interiors with a Carrie Bates story here. So just more goodness here. And get a look at, kind of get a glimpse of life on Krypton. Great ads as well. I don't see anything wrong with the interior of the book. And in terms of like tanning and stuff, this is a little bit better, the page color and quality, than our last book. So yeah, I feel pretty good about giving this just a solid 5.0. It's got actually, aside from this little tear, it actually presents a lot better. There's not as many like creases or spine wear as that last one. So, but they're very similar in grade. I just give this one a little bit of an advantage, because it just looks and presents better. So we're going to go 5.0 on this book. Let's see here. This is 191. We'll go 5.0. And both of these books could benefit from a press. We're just going to get to our, book pressing phase at some point in the future. But just to, kind of do it right now. Here's another great Neal Adams cover here. World's Finest, 245. This is a sort of a bigger book. It says it's a 2 big issue. I'm assuming that just means like 80 pages anyway. It's 80 pages. Martian Manhunter, they're on the Martian planet. And just a great cover by Neal. All right, so I'm gonna open this up. This is actually in great shape for like an 80-page book. It's got just, it's got sort of a long crease here. It does break color. Got some spine ticks. So in terms of grade, I think this one is going to be below a 5.0. There's just some skunk right there. Hoping it. All right, hang on. I got to get some spray, and we'll come back and wipe that off. All right, I'm back. Got some spray on this pad here. Just gonna give it a little wipe, see if it comes off. And it came right off. Whoops. Well, no, it didn't. It did, but not sure what. No, it's still on there. Not sure what that is. Yeah, it did come off. It looks like it's just no, it's some kind of marking. Huh. My eyes are playing tricks on me. I don't think there's anything there. Okay. While we're at it, I might as well give it a nice wipe down here. All right, so not too bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go like right now we're kind of at a 4.0. Yeah, there's some chipping back here. Whoa, man, this has got a lot of incredible artwork inside. Let's just take a look here. We've got, let's see. My notes say this is 245. We've got Kurt Swan, Jerry Conway on the main story. Yeah, that looks like classic Kurt Swan stuff right there. I'm just curious to know. I saw like a Wonder Woman back here. Got some Green Arrow stuff here. Let's see the Green Arrows. Mike, what is that? Art by Mike Nasser and Terry Austin. Wow. That's cool. All right, and we got some Black Canary. Was that Wonder Woman I saw or Black Canary that I saw? Mike Nasser stuff. Here we go. This is, maybe it was Black Canary. I thought I saw Wonder Woman in the back there. Are my eyes playing tricks? Oh, yeah, it is Wonder Woman. Okay. So let's see what we got here with Wonder Woman. This is James Sherman and Bob Wiachik on inks. Nice Wonder Woman. Look at that. James Sherman. Got some nice 70s Wonder Woman here. Very nice. Very, very nice. World's finest. Okay, well, this is a pretty, again, there's some chipping. I'm going to go some chipping there as well. I'm going to have to go 3.5 on this one. There's just a large crease there, some chipping. 3.5 seems fair. This is not, presents more of a low grade scale, I'd say, than a high grade. So, I mean, if it didn't have the chipping, it'd probably be in the 4 somewhere. But chipping, there's just a lot of little, like this corner here, it's kind of bent out of shape. And again, that large crease down this portion of the book. So yeah, 3.5 seems like that's fair. I mean, in all honesty, I could see this with a good press going for 4, even with a little chipping there. It's nothing major in terms of the chipping. It's just a little, like on the back, there's a little bit. But I mean, that's enough with everything else that's wrong with the book. I think that's enough to, give it a 3.5. So it's between a 3.5 and a 4.0. We're going to go 3.5 on that one. Three, 5. Yeah. That's should be fine. All right, 3-5. Next book. This one's actually in really, really good shape. I mean, we've got to. I'm gonna try to show you. This is actually a really beautiful cover here. We got a beautiful Neil Adams wraparound cover on Superman. World's Finest 258. And let me just kind of show you what we got going on here with the wraparound. I don't think you're going to see it. Anyway, I'm going to just show you the back cover. Okay. Beautiful back cover there. And then it wraps around to the front cover here. This book is actually, look at the spine. The spine's actually really, 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 really in good shape. No major creasing. Everything looks really, really good, actually. We got some great artwork here. Jose Garcia Lopez. Denny O'Neill's story. This is classic stuff right here. Look at that art. This is another sort of giant size edition. Got a Hawkman story. Got multiple stories in this one. You're getting good value for your dollar here. This book for $1. You're getting good value there. This is a dollar comic, 68 pages. Yeah. You got Batman being kind of like this man-bat thing. But just, again, amazing. I am going to actually put this it looks great. It really looks really good. So I'm going to give this like I'm going to give 7.5. There's not much. I mean, it's almost an 8.0 if you ask me. There's just not a lot. A couple spine ticks. Outside of that, no, yeah, I'll go as high as 8.0 on this one. This is just, it's kind of surprised me. I always thought this was a book that was in worse condition than it is. I'll go 8.0 on this one. I mean, if it is, yeah, I think 8.0 is fair. There's just not much wrong with the book on the front or the back. The spine looks, I judge a lot of the grade based on how the spine looks, and this spine is just really right. It's got some stress lines, no doubt about it, but it's like barely breaks color. It just looks really, really clean for the most part. I wish, hang on, I'm just gonna make this. I don't know why it doesn't show. Okay, so there you go. There's a good look at the spine. Just not a whole lot wrong with it. So I feel good about, let me do it like this so you can see. I don't know why the light is reflecting off it so weird. So you see stress lines there. That's pretty much like the major issue with the book. on the cover at least. Got another stress line there. I mean, you got your share of stress lines, no doubt about it. So, but like in the overall, like when you look at it from this standpoint, it doesn't really, like it's not that apparent. You got to kind of really hone in to get to see. That glare is really bugging me. There's nothing I can do about it either. I mean, it looks really like clean from that standpoint. So I mean, with the press and everything, I mean, it looks like this book doesn't really need a press, but maybe the press would do just a little bit of good on that spine there. Who knows? But yeah, really, really nice condition book. 8.0. Like just beautiful Neil Adams cover here. Nice Neil Adams piece, actually. As his best friend, against his best friend, as the Batman falls victim to the Krypton curse. What could that be? The Krypton curse. All right. Next book. Now, World's Finest isn't always Batman. Sometimes it's different DC characters. And here we've got a World's Finest Superman and Aquaman cover. This is also a Neil Adams cover. Superman's been blinded for some reason, and we got these like sharp fish people invading land. That can't be a good thing, right? So 203. Let's take this out and see what we got going on here. My camera is just not wanting to cooperate tonight. There we go. Okay. Let me get this aligned here, and then we'll straighten that out there. All right. This is a book that silver-haired Bronze Age babe gifted me in this sort of like care package. She gifted me a bunch of Neil Adams books, which, to be honest, are like some of the best Neil Adams books in my collection. And I love her collection. She has just this great Lois Lane, cover collection, and just a lot of classic books from the Silver and Bronze Age. A lot of great Neil Adams stuff. But yeah, this book's actually there's just this sort of weathering to the book. Just a nice, but it's like weathered to a point where it's kind of matted the book. That glossy sheen on the book is, well, I think what happened is, yeah, there's like, looks like there was some water damage here, but it's just so faint. Yeah, you can definitely see like a demarcation here. You can see it right there. There's that water demarcation right there. And this top part is very glossy still. And then this bottom part is very kind of matte from where that the water damage. So I think someone might have pressed this. But yeah, you get this sort of like corona effect of where the water seeped in, and this is, well, I think the water, it's difficult to tell what happened to this book there, but there's definitely some kind of like light moisture damage up here. And that could have just been caused by this book maybe being exposed to the elements over time, without, not in a bag and board, just like exposed to the air. For whatever reason, there's just this sort of wear here on the bottom part of the cover. That's where the gloss has just been eroded away. I know it's difficult to see. You kind of get a glimpse of it right there in the light. Okay. I mean, everything looks fabulous, like in terms of like creasing or anything. There's a little bit of a crease right there. Well, not crease, but like a little indentation right there. Let's take a look at the back. Yeah, the back, some chipping here. Nothing. There's a little bit of that moisture that seeped back on this part here, but for the most part, the back doesn't look to have had that much damage. All right, let's take a look at this book here. This book is, we got Dick Dillon and Joe Giella art with Steve Skeet's story here. It's nice. Dick Dillon. Got a story about a dolphin boy. Oh, these are the dolphin people, I guess, that invade the Earth. There's Superman in action, Aquaman in action, and looks like everything gets resolved at the end. Cool stuff. Okay. Yeah, with the damage overall, like the book presents really well, presents beautifully. But again, it's like that water damage, and that's pretty big. I would call that significant, because it seeps through half of the book. So yeah, I mean, given all the other factors and stuff, with that major, I would consider major damage. I'd put this at I'd put it at a 3.5. Put it at a 3.5. I think that moisture damage, to me, it represents something like, like a spine, and not a spine, like a subscription crease, like right down the middle or something. That's the equivalent of what that would be. So I think 3.5 is fair. 3.5 on this should be, I think, fair enough. Yeah, if that weren't there, this book would, I think, be a 5 for sure. Probably higher. There's not much wrong with the book outside of that. Outside of the water damage and the fading. All right, so these are dolphin people. If the dolphin people coming on land, Superman can't see for some reason. And we'll get to reading this book at some point, but I'm one that doesn't like to open up and read comic books because of the handling fears. Even this whole grading exercise, I'm trying to, again, just do it once, get through all my books, do it once. We have a solid foundation of what it is because we looked at it, and just be content with not doing any more handling of the book. All right, so 203, we landed on a 3.5. All right, the last two books are reprints, and I do collect reprints. I'm not a fan of collecting reprints, but I figure, there are just some books that I'm never going to have an opportunity to own, and I would love to own them. I don't want to say I never have an opportunity to own, because I feel like if I had $1,000, $1,000 to $2,000, I wouldn't necessarily be able to get this book, but I feel like I would be able to get this book. For $1,000, I can see myself getting a really low grade copy of First Doc Ock, Spider-Man 3, ASM 3. I can see that, and that would be, for me, that would just be like the grail in my collection. If I got an ASM 3, there's not a lot of books, I think. Obviously there are some big Superman books that would eclipse this one, but for me, I always, in my head, there's just been a handful of books where I'd say if I got them, those would be my grails, and this is definitely one of them. So we're going to get to grading this in a moment, but we'll start with these great Marvel Milestone Edition reprints. Now, these came out during my collecting era, and I remember these coming out. I never really got them or read them, but I recall them coming out and seeing them and running into them, throughout the years. But this past year, we actually started buying them, and now I kind of want to collect them all. These milestone editions, because they're all classic books, first of all, and these ones sit in the dollar bin. They're not. And you know how facsimiles and stuff come out now, they're like $6-7. So I can pick up this, and you got the original cover there, but you got this nice silver border. Now this one is in need of a press. With a press, you can see there's stress lines there, nothing color breaking. So with a press, this could really improve the grade. I'm going to say, just off of first glance, this is looking like a 7.0. Yeah, just a beautiful page quality is good too. Got the good paper quality there. Kirby art. Classic Kirby art, Mole Man. Yeah. The ads are in there as well. This is just a great reprint because it's giving you essentially the book, but with better page quality, right? So it's going to last you. And this nice silver border facsimile edition. So the nice facsimile, I shouldn't even say reprint, it's a facsimile edition, minus the silver cover there. You got it pretty much. So yeah, I would say this is like a solid 7.0 with a press maybe higher. Got a couple more of these as well. We'll get into the reprints, but nice book to own, actually. Nice book to own. All right, so this one here, I got, hang on, let me just grade this book real quick. Marvel Milestone. So I got this Spider-Man ASM reprint online. I think I paid like $10 for it. I mean, it's a mid-grade copy, I would say. Well, I don't have the Marvel. Interesting. Why don't I have the Fantastic Four #1? That's weird. Oh, here it is. Yeah, should be Marvel Milestone, but anyway. Well, I gave that what, a 7.0. All right, so this particular copy here, like I said, I got it off eBay. It's not the highest of grades. In fact, I don't recall what the issues on this book. I thought there was like a crease on the cover. That's not looking to be the case, though. So we'll just kind of dig in here and see what we have. All right. And again, this is a book I would love to. I would actually spend the money to get. In fact, I actually had an opportunity to buy this over the summer. It was like a 1.8, just a really ragged cover, and it was slabbed though. It was slabbed, and I think he was selling it for $1,100. And I thought, man, that's really, I don't think I'm ever going to get an opportunity to buy this book. What's up, Kenneth? And I really thought about it. I was like really like this close to like, let's do it. But I just said, no, I want to keep this book. I really want to get I really want a nicer copy of the book. And this is why having the reprint, I think, helps. Like when you have the reprint, you can kind of say like, well, yeah, we'd like that book, but I don't want to spend the money. We got the reprint at home, and that's kind of like it's good to fall back on that kind of logic. But anyway, this one has like some wear here, lots of spine ticks along this edge. Some creasing here at the top, but doesn't break color. So I mean, this it needs a press. There's a little bit of I wouldn't even call it a crease or something there. like a scratch, I guess. There's a crease right there. That's not good. Yeah, so I did recall there being a crease, and I see it now. It's right there. Not color breaking though. I think it's pretty long, but I think that could get pressed out. Yeah, this would stand to benefit from a press. Now this one is a reprint. There's Spider-Man and DVD. This is a Best Buy DVD insert reprint, not for sale. So if you got the Spider-Man, I think this was the Doc Ock Spider-Man 2 DVD, you got this book along with it. So it's one of those kind of like DVD insert promotional things. It's not a real comic book. As you can see, you got this back cover here. That's a nice back cover right there for a reprint. Oh, look at that. From your pal Spider-Man. Special pinup page. That probably wasn't in the original book, right? So just some classic Ditko art there. Really, really nice book. And yeah, I'm actually going to give this going to give it a better bag here, because we got some bags. Let's see here. Where's a bag I can use? We got some bags right here. Well, oh, that's not a good bag. Hang on. Yeah, this bag works. All right, so we're going to put it in this bag. And just make sure this bag is clean. Looks to be clean. So what am I going to give this grade? As is, I'm going to go 5.0. I think with the press, though, we're anticipating the press. So with a press, it's a 5.0. Without a press, we'll go 4.5. Yeah, in all honesty, it with a press, it could go as high as like a 6. Well, I don't know. Well, that's pretty major. It could go as high as a 6. I don't know. I think I'm confident saying with the press, it could get as high as a 5.5 with a press. As is 5.0 with a press, we'll go 5.5. And there you go. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, it's just, I love this reprint. Because of what the book is. I mean, I love this book. So it's a great book. It's the first appearance of one of my favorite villains, Doc Ock. So again, gonna give this a 5.0 with the press, a 5.5, and we'll leave it at that. Yeah, if you guys have a grail, Kenneth, you got a grail? Are you still there, Kenneth? If you got a grail, comment in the chat what that would be. This is, I mean, to be honest, as great as ASM1 is, and that's that's a big boy book, ASM1. Not only is it, there's nothing really key about ASM1 other than it's the first in this storied run or storied title, but it's all, it's the first meeting of Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. And as great as that book is, if you gave me a choice between having that book and this book, I'd take this book all day long. Just a great classic comic book right there. I mean, both issues are just, this is where I prefer to have this one, I would say, than the other book. But don't get me wrong, they're both great books, Just if I had a choice between one to own, I'd own this one. All right, so we got ASM 3. Why am I not seeing it here anywhere? There we go, reprint. .gog first. We're giving this 5.5. No, 5. Oh, we're giving it a 5.0. Okay. Well, that was fun. Went through that rather quickly. Got some more grades in. I really enjoy doing these grade alongs. And I hope you enjoy them too. I mean, you get kind of, I'm not a professional grader, which is, professional grading is, I mean, like, what does that even mean? It's like you got trained or certified or something. I mean, I think all of us have the potential to be professional graders. I think all that means is you get paid to get to grade books. Whatever that training program is, it's something I think you can probably work towards or work at and be just as good. I will say this, my methods tend to be rather just, I'm not doing a deep and a detailed job. I'm kind of just looking at it and trying to count all the flaws, what I see wrong with the book. And I'm using sort of a frame of reference of like, okay, this is where, if it's a 4.0 book, it should have this and this and this flaws. And I'm kind of cross-referencing that. Okay, this book has this many flaws, and these many creases, these many stress lines, this kind of damage. I'm just cross-referencing that. So, and that's pretty much, I think, what grading is. It's like you just kind of look at the book, you assess the condition, and based off the scale, you say, okay, that book lands on this end of the scale. And there are going to be a lot of people, what that specific landing is where you're going to get some disagreement. You're going to have some people who might put it lower on the scale. You might have some people put it higher on the scale. I think you even get that discrepancy with between professional graders, because a lot of it is just perception, right? Like how a book looks. And I think, what I like to do with my process is kind of give you that, um, show you how I'm approaching the grading and what I observe and what I see and how much I think something like water damage, even though you can't see it, water damage is pretty severe. So it's not going to be anything above, like a low, like it's going to be on the lower end of the scale, even though it looks mid grade as a book. That damage is going to drop it to low grade. So I kind of gave this like the highest, low grade um, that I could give it. Technically, like there's a mid grade range and there's a low grade range. I gave it kind of like the highest low grade range it could get because of that damage. It is a low grade book. Without the damage, we're talking to like this is the potential to be a high grade book, like the cusp of a high grade book. So that's what that is. All right. So this is the part of the program where talk about the week, talk about like news and stuff going on. Yeah. Uh, I actually went to the library and I checked out Star Blazers 2202, which is a remake of The Search for Iskandar. It's where the Earth Defense Forces go up against Atlantis, this huge floating like mountain planet. That's like a comet, like a planet destroying comet underneath this. So there's this like mountain planet, but it's floating along, destroying planets and stuff. And yeah, the Earth Defense Forces go out and they battle it. The Gamelons end up supporting Earth and fighting the Gatlantians. I just remember watching that as a kid and yeah, just being like, Star Blazers was the best. If you were fortunate enough to watch Star Blazers growing up as a kid, the original, talking like the original 70s animated series, you had a good childhood. You had a pretty cool childhood. To this day, I love the Yamato series. It is a bit on the. I mean, they basically resurrect a warship, a World War II battleship, right? So I mean, just if you're not a fan of Japanese imperialism, which none of us probably are, that symbol rising up and defending Earth probably isn't the best thing. But really, what that represents is it's just just sort of Japanese. I don't want to say nationalism. I want to say just Japanese patriotism. You're talking about a defeated nation, a defeated country, and they were able to rebuild post-war, to rebuild their economy. And it's just like, when this animation came out in the 70s, it was just a real um, pride for the Japanese people. So I view it more in that lens, as opposed to like, oh yeah, we're celebrating our imperialistic culture. No, no, they're celebrating, um, you know, they're celebrating their nation. So I try to look at it through that lens, and the series is great. It actually is just like a lot of so many memorable and great characters, a lot of great scenes and situations. It's really just a space opera, um, and it's a classic series. So it ran like one season, and then it ran a second season. The second season is actually really, really um, where they return, and you get all this like drama between the Gamelons, again, the Gatlantians and the Earth people. Um, it was good stuff growing up, and so this remake kind of takes the original series, but they redo it with a new story, all new characters, and really like high quality animation. Like this is just like computer, uh, computer aided or digital animation, um, along with the standard, like, um, matte. I don't know, what is it? Standard. What's the word I'm looking for? Where you paint, where you're painting images on um, the film. It's not film, but you're painting. Is it the matte painting? I don't want to say matte painting, but I think it is the matte painting. But you're basically painting on the 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 cells. Yeah, cell animation. There you go. So yeah, like just the best cell animation, and that's rendered digitally now. So it's kind of this combination of digital animation, but it's still like rendered onto cells, so it's like film animation at the same time. Um, and it's just absolutely, I think this cell animation is still what qualifies it as animation. Um, because I know, like, once you get into just fully digital, and I don't know, maybe the Japanese animation has moved from cell to fully digital now. Um, but I'm thinking, this came out a couple years ago, thinking this one still is cell animation for the most part. Um, but I know there's animation here that's digitally rendered, and it looks really fantastic. You can kind of see the difference between like cell motion versus like digital animation motion. The digital animation motion is a lot more like fluid, like seamless, um, whereas cell animation is going to give you kind of that not as seamless effect. But I'm pretty sure this is a combination of both. But I don't know. I mean, I think the animation you're seeing now, like today, is going to be mostly digital computer animation, right? And that's what you're seeing with animation here in the US. It's all digital. So, but the cell animation, to me, it represents like the true, I don't know, it's a true form of animation. I hope we never lose that. But again, with technology and everything, I know it's these kinds of things that we associate with as like an art form. Technology can sometimes render that obsolete, and so I think we're kind of seeing that in animation now. Um, but anyway, yeah, this is something I'm looking forward to watching better in terms of like production and storytelling and all that. On a real, people love uh, space battleship Yamato. Japanese people really love that story. I grew up loving it. Without any kind of historical context. As a kid, you just watch it. Just a great epic story. And I can see why you'd have a problem with, the Yamato, the symbol of that warship, World War II warship. But I just look at it as like the Japanese reclaiming what was, just a real sort of negative point in their history, right? It was, post-war Japan was just a real sort of low, miserable point for the nation, and they're just reclaiming that. They're saying like, look, this is an object of a lot of maybe negative thoughts about how the nation pursued war, pursued um, the the desire to own more land, own more resources, have colonies elsewhere, Korea being one of those colonies, to a symbol of hope. They take this really kind of negative, something that was viewed as a warmongering vessel, and they reclaim it as a peacekeeping kind of vessel, something to defend the earth, not necessarily an offensive weapon, but a defensive, weapon. So, yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think, like you should put too much of a political kind of nationalistic spin on it. It's just entertainment, and again, it's Japanese cultural entertainment. I think at its best, it's really, there's nothing in it that warrants, like any kind of negative criticism. I think where you would draw that is if it did the opposite of what I just said. If it was actually like, hey, like celebrating its history and kind of like, um, promoting the ideals of, Imperial Japan at the time, right? They're like, they're defending Earth. They're not defending Japan. They're defending Earth. So, if it were more like, screw everybody else, it's just about Japan and all that, that would be like, okay, hey, come on, you're going a little too far with that. But that's not what it was promoting. So, yeah, just a great series. Both in the 70s, it was great. I actually prefer the 70s just because that's the model. But if you're gonna remake it and just pay homage to everything that original series represented, you're bringing back the original cast and crew of characters, staying true to that sort of original story and all the ideals that story represented, and you see it here in this new series as well. So just well done. I'm really looking forward to kind of diving in and watching more of that. We got a great cast photo of Superman Legacy cast, and man, I gotta tell you, it's I think got a lot of fans really, really, really excited because you got Guy Gardner, you got Metamorpho, so it's if you're looking at that Geffen De Mateus Justice League run, where you have this huge Justice League with a lot of different characters. That's what they're setting. It looks like that's where they're headed. That's what they're setting up. Like there's this. It's not like your typical Justice League, where it's Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Superman, Cyborg, and just whatever like the major characters of DC. No, it's like all the oddball characters, sort of the minor characters. Like Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, and of course the major ones as well, like Batman's, Superman, Wonder Woman. But they're sort of off doing their own thing. The Justice League is sort of like kind of like that backup group of superheroes. So yeah, with the cast photo there, you kind of got glimpses of those Justice League characters. You also got you see kind of like they had Lex Luthor. He had his head shaven. You saw Lois. Lois looks great. The British actress is playing Lois. She looks great, and I'm sure she's going to do a really killer American accent. I do hope they make Lois like yeah, I do hope they make her a little bit kind of like Margot Kidder's Lois, a little bit, just kind of a little bit of sass, a little bit of kind of like a go-getter, but at the same time like somebody who's a risk taker, that kind of. But yeah, I hope they. We'll just see. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do a great job portraying Lois as she is in the comic books, like a power, like a strong journalist, smart, strong, like can stand on her own 2 feet, doesn't have to be rescued necessarily, right? On even keel with Clark Kent. Let's just put it that way. Because I know in the comic books they kind of make it like Clark Kent can type, like 1,000 words a minute or something, and like he's like this better journalist, or yeah, like he's yeah, like that he's as good as journalist as Lois. But like I think we all know like Lois is the better journalist, right? She's just been doing it longer. Clark may have I think Superman could help him in that realm of being able to have access to certain facts and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's about going out and finding a story, getting those interviews, and getting the support, finding those support systems to reinforce your story or your view of what that is. And I just have the sense that Lois would be better at that than Clark. And that's just one of those like innate things you're kind of born with. Like you're either born a journalist or you're not. It's just one of those things you either have or I guess you could develop it, but I'm just saying, like, for those people that are just naturals at it, that would that would separate you from the average to great. I think Lois would have that. What else? We saw. Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned, I'm not excited about the X-Men 97, to be honest. First off, I never watched the original series, so I'm just not in that generational loop. And the other thing is, I think it's great that they brought in Bishop and Gambit and all that, but they left out Psylocke. And I know why they left out Psylocke, because I think they're trying to still make it somewhat like kid friendly. And Psylocke in her actual like uniform would kind of elevate it to like a PG, like you just give it a little bit more of an adult risque kind of rating. But there's all these memes showing Rogue's butt and that being covered and all that. So I mean, I don't know. I think if they're gonna target like adults, you can bring a Psylocke in and totally. I just think like leaving Psylocke out makes it so not 90s X-Men. Like, why would you leave like the literal 90s like X-Man who's on all the covers and everything? Leave her out and then put in like a Jubilee. Well, Jubilee was there from the beginning, but you get what I mean. Like, they shouldn't have left. I know why they left Psylocke out of the original. Too risque. It's a kid's show, right? You can't have a hot, sexy Asian running around giving kids the wrong idea, right? But you can do it for adults. And I just don't get why they didn't, they had that conversation back when it was going on TV for kids, right? Okay, yeah, we can't do Psylocke because she's just too risque. Well, 20 years later, I think you can now. I think you can totally be like, hey, you know what? We got to go risque on this one. We got adults watching. Maybe they're still trying to make it kid friendly. Maybe that's the reason. Like, have it so where like the adults and the kids can watch. Although, yeah, I don't know. You just got to see it, but that's going to just make it lame. Like it's something like the kids and adults are going to watch together. It's just going to be super lame. So again, I'm not getting too caught up on it. Doesn't impact me either way. I think it's cool that they're remaking something that 90s kids watched. I think that's cool. It just doesn't. I'm not part of that. Like that circle. And if you do want to make me part of that circle, you gotta have 90s Psylocke in there. That's all I'm saying. So I'll just remain out of the circle because you didn't include me in coming up with those suggestions. What else is going on? I feel like there's a lot happened this week, and kind of having brain fog about. Yeah, we got some more. There's actually a lot of stuff going on. There's the Fantastic Four cast got announced. Not really excited about it. Partly because a lot of the actors I just have no real basis of knowledge for. So it's just going to be one of those things like you have to watch and then, oh, okay, that they did a good job, or man, they were horrible. It's one of those things. I think Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards is a little bit of a stretch. He's a great actor, though. I think he can pull it off, but I'm just saying, like, would not have been my original choice for that casting. What else? Deadpool, a couple, I think more kind of know. It looks like they are, like, shout out to TM Nerdy for calling it, but looks like they are leaning toward Deadpool kills the Fox X-Men or the X-Men universe. So there's a comic book, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, but they're probably going to angle that toward Deadpool kills the Fox universe of Marvel characters, which is like all the Wolverine origin characters and the Fox X-Men, which would be really hilarious to actually see happen. I mean, that's kind of like laugh out loud. They set it to like some funky music or something and just have Deadpool like just slashing through and killing all the original, like Halle Berry and like Hugh Jackman and everybody. That'd just be hilarious. And I could totally see Ryan Reynolds doing that. But the other really exciting prospect of, is that we'll see MCU characters in that mix as well. So you'll see Fox, you'll see obviously Deadpool's in its own little kind of realm, and then we'll see MCU. We'll see that crossover happen, the Fox MCU crossover. So yeah, I mean, they can do a lot of things in that space, and I think that's just a fun place to be in. I think, but I've got to say, out of all this stuff, again, I'm looking forward to. I put Superman Legacy at the top. I'd actually put like the next Spider-Verse movie second, and then Deadpool. And the only reason I say that is because Spider-Verse ended on like a cliffhanger. So you're actually like, whoa, what's going to happen next, right? That is just kind of like, it left you hanging for more. And that hasn't subsided yet. I think everybody watched that movie is kind of like, give me more, right? Whereas like Deadpool 2, like, it was funny, but it ended, and it didn't leave you hanging or wanting more. Now, this trailer that came out, I was kind of like had my hopes up that they'd reveal something or another, but they didn't really reveal much outside of, oh, Wolverine's in the movie, which we all knew, right? So I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I had like I was really highly anticipating the movie, but now I'm kind of like, I just hope it's good. I'm kind of like paring back the expectation to, like, I just hope I'm not disappointed with the movie, you know? And so it kind of dropped a couple notches for me. I'm sure Hugh Jackman's going to be incredible in it. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be a great film. I just, in terms of like what I'm really looking forward to seeing, it's lost some of that. And like before, I was like, whoa, I really want to see Deadpool. Now it's kind of like, I hope it's good. I just hope it's good. I hope it doesn't stink. Um, but yeah, Namanjang, Trev, uh, and a bunch of the community members, I think, are talking about uh, the Dark Tower series. Um, now, so the Dark Tower series, it's like 7 books, and the last book, like Stephen King got in like an accident, and the last book almost didn't get written because he was in the ICU, and that the last book, how it ends, how the whole Dark Tower series ends, was kind of like, and I remember that time I was just like, when I heard he was in the accident and he was in the ICU, and that there was a possibility, he might not make it out of this. Obviously, my thoughts went to like, his well-being and his family, and of course, I wanted him uh, to recover and come back, but my mind also went to like, holy shit, that if he dies, we don't have an end to the story, and we've been waiting for the last book, right? And I just remember that because the last book, everything was written. I'd read everything up to that point, just waiting on the last book, and it took a couple years. Anyway, he did make a recovery, and that's the first thing he started working on because he thought the exact same thing. He was just like, shoot, if I die, will never have finished the story. Um, and what a great story it is. I mean, Gunslingers, probably, I mean, out of all the things I've consumed over the years, um, comic books, Stephen King books. My favorite Stephen King book is still The Shining. It's a hands down. That's never going to change. But I'd say right second to that is the Dark Tower series. Like every single book in that series, um, uh, is just fantastic. Um, Jake, Odetta, uh, the Gunslinger, all of his friends, the Coctet. It's like it's just such a great um, adventure, uh, and the world he creates is just so like, I mean, it's so convincing as a fantasy world. It's just so convincing. Um, and really, I saw something recently. I saw something recent. I can't remember. I think it was in a comic book or something. Yeah, it was in the X of Swords. I read the X of Swords, right? And they use the same concept of, all these beams. There's a central access point of the beams that connects all the beams, and that's the sort of the nexus of uh, the tower, right? It's where all like time and space continuum kind of collide, and that's the nexus, like where all the different parallel universes and whatnot meet. And the X of Swords had that same concept, which is what I found like just lame. It's like dude, can you be any more original? But yeah, it's that I just remember recalling. Oh, I've seen that some. Oh yeah, that was from the Dark Tower series, right? It's like, uh, but yeah, like that's what's great about the Dark Tower series. It just builds this like world and universe, and they explain it in such a really like where you can buy into it. Basically, you go, oh, okay, that's how it works. And so yeah, that's why I love Stephen King and especially this particular series. Yeah, I mean, Stephen King would have been a great. You know, he almost got into comic books. He would have been a great comic book writer had he had Marv Wolfman hired him. Um, but Marv Wolfman never got his application, so thus he was never hired by DC, and instead ended up writing like Christine or something, and getting published, and the rest is history. But man, if he had, I think he did write a couple comic books after he got famous. You know, after he became this best-selling author. I think he did do a couple comic book. I know he for one he did write the Gunslinger series. I mean, that's like excerpts from the book and all that. So he worked with Jay Lee on doing that Gunslinger series, and that's a great comic book. The artwork in that is absolutely like horrifying. It's just horrifying artwork, really macabre type style of. Um, I remember seeing like the um, the Spider King and being like, yeah, that's what the Spider King would look like. Like Jay Lee just nailed it right on the head with his rendering of all the characters. And that's probably something he worked very closely with Stephen King on designing. Like, is this what you had in mind? And Stephen King probably gave what was in his head to Jay Lee, and Jay Lee just ran with it. But again, that's a great comic book series. Stephen King, it just would have been really interesting to see if King had gotten into the comic books in the 80s, like late 70s, and um, had written comic books through the 80s, what we would like, that's a good comic book reality to kind of look into. Like there's a there's a DC verse where Stephen King is a comic book writer rather than a best-selling fiction writer. What those two worlds, what how I would have fit in those two worlds. I like the world I'm in right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he went into horror fiction and all that. But what if I had read his comic books growing up? How cool would that have been? I mean, what if he had introduced the Gunslinger series through comic books? How how insane would that have been? We would have just gotten all this entire like huge run of illustrated, that story being illustrated. And that's a great thing to actually pursue. If I'm Dark Horse or Marvel or so, I would just like be chasing that. Hey, can we do the Gunslinger Dark Tower series uh, as a comic book, like the entire thing, like all 7 volumes in comic book format? Uh, that would be insane. I would definitely, definitely be on that. Um, but yeah, like Naman Young and Trev and them were talking the book, and I just thought that was really cool. I think we're all excited for because the movies. I mean, the movie didn't look like it was just horrible, right? No one's gonna. That movie was bad. I think we all recognize that. So I think we're all looking for the redemption and making it a series, making a slower, longer series, maybe over 7, you know, how 10, however many seasons makes sense for me. Um, but again, if you've read the book, I think it could also be bad as well. I mean, unless you really stay true to the characters and all that, um, it's not going to fly. But if you are true to, I mean, if you're literally like transcribing page to the screen, that's where I think you get buy-in from people like me. But you risk losing again. It's what's going to work with the mass market. Are you going to target the mass market? You going to target to everybody who's read the book. I think targeting to everybody who's read the book is a pretty smart move because at least you're gonna. A lot of people have read the book first and foremost, but at least you've got a base to work off of. And if enough of us are raving about it, like our wives and our like cousins and people are gonna get into it. Hey, what's up? What's up, B? Hey, did you see my message to Brian for fantasy? We're gonna do fantasy baseball, okay? But the entry fee is a comic book, okay? The entry fee is a comic book, and you have this, and so everybody sends their book in Brian. Whoever wins the league gets the stack of books. So I think we got like 10 teams, so you'll get a nice little 10 book haul if you win the league. It should be fun. It's something to play for this year. So, all right, well, reach out to Brian then. Reach out to Brian, let him know. That's another thing I didn't even begin to talk about. The spring trainings just around the corner. I think the first series of games is this weekend. Um, the Mariners are going to stink again. I really just Mariners just the management. They're just sorry. I just don't even want to like think about the Mariners. I'm actually going to like root for the Dodgers this year. I'm being a Dodger fan. Um, for obvious reasons, they got so much talent there. It's theirs to lose this year. Seriously, it's theirs to lose. Um, and that's the thing about baseball. Just getting all this like super talent's not going to guarantee you anything. I mean, look at the Yankees. There's so many teams that just like you pad your roster with like free agent talent, superstars. Doesn't ensure you anything on the hill and the mound, the diamond. So we'll see. But I don't know. I think they're looking really, really focused and strong there. Uh, so we'll just see what happens. Well, yeah, I think the Astros are still in a good position, man. I think the Astros are going to be there, and that's the thing. Like Dodgers Astros in a 7-game series. That's it really comes down to who just executes best. You've got so much talent on both teams. I'm sad Dusty's gone. Uh, Dusty Baker was a great manager for you guys. Those are big shoes to fill from a managerial standpoint. But yeah, I mean, I don't think. Oh yeah, all right. Yeah, the Mariners are like the laughing stock. But well, I mean, I just hope they don't embarrass themselves. You know, I think the team hit like Mendoza line last year. That's embarrassing yourself right there when your whole team hits Mendoza. Um, I mean, you got to do better than that. But I don't think they will, to be honest. We brought back Mitch Haniger, okay, which was actually, I think, a decent move. Um, but, you know, begs the question, why did you get rid of him in the first place? If you're going to bring him back, I mean, he was injured most of last year. So, I mean, but you know what I mean? Like, you thought a guy's worth moving, and then you bring him back. It's like, well, why don't you just stick with him? Um, and then we brought in, we didn't really bring anybody in. Haniger, we brought in some dude from Texas. I think we signed a couple of relief pitchers. I think we signed like a shortstop or no second base, a third baseman, kind of a no-name third baseman. Um, didn't do much, so I just not looking forward to the Mariners. I don't think I'm excited to go to a Mariners game at all this year. Thinking about free tickets, I might go, but that's really the only way you're going to get me to watch that team. It's like Shohei's not going to come to Seattle because he's no longer with the Angels, and the Dodgers are not on our interleague schedule, so that's not happening. Yeah, I mean, Houston, you guys are still strong. Like, all those guys are in their prime years now, and yeah, you just barely missed going last year. That Texas Houston series was a really tough, good series. Um, yeah, the last 2 weeks of baseball there was actually really fun to watch because the Mariners were actually in the hunt as well for a wild card berth, and then Scott Service went and effed it all up because he sucks as a manager, can't manage to save his life. Um, Man, like, how does that guy like? How is he like? It's imposter syndrome. Scott Service is imposter syndrome, and he should not. Just because you played major league at a certain time in your career does not make you worthy to manage a major league baseball team. Jeez. Like, how can you mismanage the last 2 weeks of the season? Jeez. Anyway, go Mariners. um, if you ever check out the Mariners, no, I mean, yeah, go check out the Mariners Instagram page. Okay, there's so much hate on it's, there's so much fan hate on their fan page, like their own fans just talking shit about the team and the management, even the player. I just like they're just talking shit. Um, but if you want a good laugh, go check out the Mariners Instagram page. You just see a bunch of like crybabies, and I mean, legitimately, I have those same thoughts and opinions. I think the team is just really just messing up. Okay, like the management, the players can't hit. It's just a bad situation. It's a shit show. Okay, the team is a shit show. Um, but yeah, like you go. I just love going there after like a loss and reading the comments on Instagram, the Mariners on fan page. It's brutal. I mean, the fans really just like let's boycott the team. This team sucks, and they're just going about it. It's hilarious. It's a like, yeah. I can't think of a fan base that's worse. But it's deserved because like us fans deserve a World Series. We deserve a World Series title, and all this pent up frustrations from the older fans, younger fans too, but mostly the older fans who've lived this long history of never having done anything with the franchise, right? Not having any kind of postseason glory to really celebrate. Um, so I mean, it's real frustration, but it's at that point now where like there's nobody saying anything positive. You got maybe a couple like true Mariner fans there who just will weather everything and not say anything bad about the team. You got a couple of people like they're on there, but for the most part, like I would say 95% of that message IG message board are fans who are just like pissed. They're just pissed and they're taking out all their frustrations in life and everything out on the poor Mariners social media manager. It's funny. It's a fun thing to tune into. Again, if you want a good laugh, go to the Seattle Mariners page, follow it, like and subscribe to the Mariners IG page, and just watch the fan base implode on itself. It's hilarious. What else? Oh, not too much going on. Again, I'm gonna make a stop to Destiny City Comics to pick up some books. I picked up a book this week. So as soon as we get a little bit of a haul, I don't want to make it a one book haul. So as soon as we get some more books, I'm gonna get some dollar books at Destiny City Comics. Looks like he just kind of refilled the bins, so we should have hopefully some good pickings. Oh yeah, the Bears are probably another fan base that's pissed. They haven't seen anything for a long time, Yeah, I mean, the Bulls are the only thing that they've really. I guess the Cubs that one year, that fluke year. But yeah, they've kind of been starved for stuff too. And that's a big sports market. Seattle's rather small compared to these other big sports markets. Got an ant running around on my bookshelf here. Yeah, so it'll be an interesting baseball season, I think. Got a lot of sort of shifting, but teams are pretty much kind of where they are from I think the Dodgers are the only real team to have shifted a lot. The Phillies lost some talent, but all the teams are kind of right where they were from last season. So, I mean, you're obviously you like Atlanta's chances, you like Toronto. I just hate the Yankees. I don't even want to say the Yankees are. I think the Yankees just are going to stink this year, to be honest. Yeah, I think Houston's there. Houston's strong. Texas, so they're the defending champions. We'll have to see how the offseason affected Texas because they lost a lot of they lost some talent, but they also were able to sign some people. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch. Yeah, I just hope we don't. I just hope we don't finish last. I can see that happening, to be honest. But I think our pitching is strong enough to where we'll be close. Like we're not going to be terrible, but if our offense is anything like it was last year, yeah, we're going to just stink. And like Ty France, they're showing these videos of Ty France going into the hitting clinic and putting time in the hitting clinic. Like, why didn't you do that last year then? It's like, oh, I'm going to put time in the hitting clinic because I stunk last year. Well, you should have done that. You should have did that a year ago. But yeah, he's going to stink. Julio Rodriguez, that guy should be going to the hitting clinic too. He should not be getting $10 million a year to play. To be just a young athletic guy. There's more to baseball than being a young athletic guy. Don't get me wrong, Julio Rodriguez is our future. He's a great player, but he's being overpaid. That's for damn sure. Unless he puts up like MVP style numbers, which is more than just like 30 bases and 30. A 30-30 is, I think, what he did 30-40 last year. No, I think he did 30-30 last year. He didn't do 30-40. And that's impressive. Those are good fantasy numbers, but again, you got to hit over. What do you hit, like 260 last year, something like that? You gotta do better than that, or else you're not very good. Yeah, I think if his draft position is very high, I would not. I mean, that's the thing about draft positions, right? It's a lot of it's based on last season, so a lot of it's based on outlook for this season. I'm gonna have to do a draft video, like kind of like I did last year. So we'll see. I actually have to do research this year. I went in last year just kind of like kind of doing like a base amount of research just based off last year's stats or the previous year's stats. I'm gonna kind of do that this year too, but I think I'm gonna look at like how they're trending and put more weight on that. I think trending stats matter a lot, because even if you trend up and then trend down, you're not anticipating a big drop. You're like kind of anticipating like maybe a plateau or just a little bit of a well, in the case of Ty France, you're doing this, and in the case of the entire Mariners roster, you're doing a flat drop. But for the most people are just, they're going to trend up and even either plateau or decrease a little bit, but not too much below the mean. Where the upside is, they really build off last season. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to look at, that sort of trend line, and really focus in on those players that have that trend line, like the upward trend line. I am not looking at a downward trend line. Any player that's exhibiting a downward trend, like Julio Rodriguez, like Ty France, these guys, yeah, they're going to have upside from last season because they were horrible last season, but that's too big of a. I mean, you rarely see that. You rarely see like, player go like this, go way down, and then come right back up. That rarely happens. There's a reason they went down. And oftentimes it's something that can't be fixed. It's like either you make that adjustment during the season and you fix it, or you just won't fix it because it's ingrained in what you've trained your body to respond to, like hitting or fielding or whatever. So giving you a little sneak peek at my draft Supersonics. Don't get me started on the Supersonics, man. Don't get me started on the Supersonics. Well, at least the NBA's made a verbal commitment to bring the Sonics back. So it's just a matter of time. When the NBA expands, Seattle's going to be an expansion team. And that'll be a huge day here in the city. You're going to see people like going out of their minds when it's announced the Sonics are coming back. Yeah, this city's always been a basketball town, and the fact that they got ripped away from us by Clay Bennett, one of the shittiest people on earth. Just a horrible thing to do to a city, to move a team that's been there from the get-go. Just a horrible thing. But anyway, they're coming back, and when they come back, man, I just hope the Rain Man, Garrett, the Glove, I hope everybody comes back and celebrates. Bring them all back, man. Ricky Pierce, Kendall Gill, Vin Baker, Detlef Schrempf, Tom Chambers, man. Bring back Tom Chambers. That dude's super old. Jack Sikma. Nate McMillan. I'm just trying to remember. Ricky. Did I say Ricky Pierce already? Who's the other sharp? Dale Ellis, Xavier McDaniel. Bring them all back, man. Bring back my Sonics. Just have this one big like Legends party. Bring back KD. I hope KD comes. KD always said he'd like to end his career in Seattle. He said that in many an interview, and that'd be great if he just won a couple more titles in Phoenix, and then he's like, "Yo, dude, I'm going back to Seattle," and he brings Westbrook and all the OG Mariners from that team, and we win a championship with that old school team. That'd be poetic justice, but we'll see. So gotta wait. This waiting game it's killing me, man. It's killing me. What do you got planned for the weekend? You taking Ollie somewhere exciting? You guys always like go out and do the father-son like toy hauls and comic book haul stuff. I that's so cool. My kid, he loves cars, but I don't think I try to get him into Spider-Man and like Superman and all that. And he likes Spider-Man. He likes Superman. He knows who they are. He's just not into them. He doesn't even like. He has no interest in any of this stuff here. He comes into my room and he's like, "Those are comic books." And he's kind of like so for example, I'll be like, "Hey, you want to go to the comic book store with Daddy?" And he's like, "Daddy, don't buy comic books. Mommy doesn't like it when you buy comic books." I hope so. I hope so. When he starts to read, I hope he like will get into him. But he's really smart. I just can't like he's just he's already like he's 4, but he knows like how to do addition, subtraction. Like he can do math problems, basic math problems. He started riding a bike, like a 2-wheeler, no training wheels, 2-wheeler bike, at the age of 3. So right now he's 4. All his like fellow 4-year-olds are still on their little striders, and he's riding around on a 2-wheeler. So he's just really yeah, he's just sharp. Just sharp. I don't know where he gets it from. It's like I want to say my wife, but not really. Not for me, for sure. So I'm just thinking somewhere in our family lineage, there's like maybe like a genius person or something. But my wife and I are just like we're always like surprised that he can do because then he was doing Where's Waldo books. Like he could find Waldo faster than my wife and I could. And this was before he could talk. He was like one. He was like 1. We'd open up a Where's Waldo book. We'd say, "Hey, where's Waldo?" And he'd be like, "There, there, there, there." Like, and he'd do, um, we'd ask him, "Where's the lion?" He'd point at the lion. "Where's the duck?" This was before he could speak. He just all he could do was point, and he understood what we were saying, and he could point everything out. And like that was impressive when that happened. And I'm just like, as he's gotten older, he's just continued to like just surprise us. I mean, he can read Japanese already. His English is a little bit behind, but not by much. I mean, he can read like banana. He can read words. I think it's just about putting like them into sentences now. He can read like simple words like cat, bananas, and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of cool. So it's just going by too quickly. I mean, like, yeah, I can't believe he's going to be in kindergarten soon. It just seems like yesterday, it was like we're changing diapers and doing all that, and now it's like he won't need that much help from us anymore. It's crazy to think about. Great. Chilling at home is the best. We're probably going to chill at home this week because it was sunny today, but it's going to rain tomorrow. So I don't see us doing much outside. I think he's got a play date though tomorrow. So we'll see. But it'll probably be like an indoor play date or something. That's great. Home, being at home, especially your place, family, your place is just like, I bet it would be the funnest place to hang out with all the toys and all the comic books. I could just see myself going to your house and just playing with all the wrestling figures and like video games and it'd just be a blast. It'd kind of be like, it'd be like heading to one of those like arcade, I don't know, like nostalgic arcade places with all the toys and the comic books and all that. Where you just like charge admission and be like, yeah, play games by the hour. Yeah, my wife and I were like, we want Leo to get into video games, but we're just kind of like, what would be a good age to do it? And because he's 4, It's like he has the dexterity to do video games right now. Just wondering if it's, you know, I'd say maybe we're about 2 years off. In 2 years will probably get him. Yeah, because he wants to play. He wants to play video games. There's no doubt about that. You just want to make sure it's like a situation where he can do it a little bit, have fun, but it's not going to be one of those. He's going to have to self-manage that. I think it's a good to kind of teach him like, hey, there's game time, and then there's, you know, there's stuff you have to do time, kind of, and teach him at a young age how to kind of manage and balance that. I think that would be good. But we want to get him the real old school games, the 8-bit, 16-bit, like the original Street Fighter, like like the original Super Nintendo games, or even the original Nintendo games. The original Nintendo games are actually really a lot of fun, like Zelda and stuff. But I just feel like Zelda's at 5, and 6, just a little too still difficult. But like something like Street Fighter, where you can just like, it's like you're kind of moving, and then you're just doing like moves. That would I would want to get into Street Fighter. My wife would hate that though, the fighting games. She'd be like, "No, get him into like Super Mario and all that," which is cool. That's cool too. I think Super Mario is actually probably more where we're leaning. But I mean, dude, what better to teach you about cultures than Street Fighter, right? You learn there's Russians, there's Spaniards, there's Japanese people, there's Indian people, there's even Brazilians. It teaches you about the different countries and how we all have to fight to survive. You got to enter that kumite and fight to survive. All right, well, it's fun hanging out, and have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, B, and everybody out there. It's going to be fun to do fantasy and talk comic books all summer long. So just really looking forward to the next couple of months. It's going to be fun. I promise you, it's going to be a fun summer on this channel. We're going to be picking up books. We're going to be talking about summer plans as they kind of formulate and get going. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.